welcome to my life. For those of you that are joining us, I welcome you. So it's doubling today. So it's Mother's Day and it's also my birthday. Normally, last year was very close, like 2 days apart, but today is just the same day. So I'm very grateful to God Almighty for adding another year to my life, for the mercy, for the grace, for recovery, for health. Yeah, so this year I started out very, very uh strong, if I may say. I started out very strong, but um yeah, I'm still trusting God that everything will be perfected. So I'm just kind of taking my time. um as African people, we underplay the role of stress in our lives, the impact that stress can have on our health. So we are kind of like, we can do it. We've been doing it all along, coming from Nigeria, and all what we needed to do and go through, and we didn't break that. So we kind of forget that there are a lot of impact that stress can have on our well-being, on our health. And so, yeah, I'm taking my time, taking it slow, and yeah, coming into recovery and coming into my new year. And I'm very grateful to God Almighty for making it possible for me, for being able to be in good health and to be able to continue to be there to care for my children and for my family. I am very happy about that. I think for me personally, I've always been an idealist, like going through school and university and doing my master's and all. Like I've always been like this idealist, and I was thinking that a lot of things is because you didn't know. Like if you knew better, if you had the information, if you knew, like you would do different, right? Like I always having this idea, like that most of the things that are being done in ignorance. No, like like not just that ignorance, just that you don't know. Like the saying, what you don't know is bigger than you. Like just so that there is no knowledge about a lot of things, and that there is a lot of faith and goodwill from a lot of people and things, and power that we have and we see, and that they just want to kind of do the right thing and be decent, be honest, that just being idealist in that way. But like thinking that, okay, it's not happening the way we are anticipating, or our expectation is not being met because maybe the understanding is not there. But this journey has been a rude awakening, and they say lifelong learning. We are learning every day, and we get to learn that most of the things is not about not knowing or lacking of understanding. It's not about ignorance. As a matter of fact, it's about taking the full advantage of any kind of influence you have, or advantage or power or wealth or whatever it is that you have, like drawing it out to its complete extent, using it to that like it's just like about ego and about self grandiosity, about individuals, about their I don't know, like it's really not about the way we think about it. And so I'll always be thinking about how we have been growing up in Nigeria, talking about Nigerian politics and things that is going on in the Nigerian polity. And isn't it amazing that we are getting older and it's still the same conversation? You know, yeah. So many things happened over the last week, and of course the issue of the new pope, right? So we have a new pope. And I'm very happy, kind of, because like this is, as an adult, this is the third pope that I'm witnessing. I witnessed, not that I witnessed it, like I took knowledge of it. When the Pope John Paul passed, you remember? Yeah, I think it was, yeah, the one that we were going up with, and then Pope John Paul passed, and then came Pope Benedict the 16th. So I think he didn't finish his term. He abdicated, and this Pope was just elected to be a cardinal 2 years ago, just in 2023. Just in 2023, he was elected to be the cardinal, and then now he's the Pope just 2 years later. And he's very young. So, obviously, by the grace of God, God giving him health, he's going to leave it out. It's going to be a while, maybe before there will be another Pope, Like, I know, 69, you will say, oh, he's young. In comparison to the ones we witnessed, I think uh, Pope Benedict was almost 80 at the time he was made Pope, and the same with Pope Francis, right? So is relatively young according to how they do it. So yeah, thank you, Daniel. Thank you. Thank you so much, Umunna. I agree to you. So that's one of the things that happened. I was not able to make any commentary about it. But I did make a post that this Pope, he was actually in Nigeria in 2016. As a matter of fact, he was in the southeast. He was in the southeast. This Pope you are looking, this Pope, this man they made Pope, if you can see, is him. So there was a friend of his, and that man is from Imo State, Nigeria. So he went to that place to partake in that man's interment in his parish in Imo State, in Obo. And he came, and at that time he was a provost. But despite that, he came, and that man that passed was a chaplain. He was a chaplain in the military there in the US. But I don't know how, in what category they became friends. But he came, and you can see how he mingled with the locals. And I think when he came at that time, he also traveled around Nigeria. He went to Jos and stuff like that. But at least the southeast was safe enough at the point at that point. So he went to the southeast and they did the burial. And that his friend, that man that passed, that he came, that Reverend Father Gerard Onoha. That man, he came to Nigeria. I think before his passing, he came to Nigeria. He came to celebrate with his fellow friends. They were doing birthday, they were doing celebration of life and stuff like that. And after that visit, he went back to the US, and within 4 weeks he passed, because when he went back to the US, he fell sick, and then they diagnosed him with pancreatic cancer. And so at the end stage, like, there was really nothing they could do. So it was after he came back from Nigeria that they realized that he had it, and he fell sick, and then it was that. And within that period, the whole thing just kind of escalated, and within 4 weeks he was gone. And this Prevost at the time, the current Pope Leo the 14th, he was there. And so I think that this is the kind of Pope we should look forward to, that they are going to use their influence for good, that their influence will be something that will bring light and endearment, because before he became Pope, he was already close to the people. He was able to travel cross continent, come to Africa. You can see how he's mingling with the parishioners. And like, that connection to Nigeria just made me very happy about it. I don't know about anybody else, but of course we have a lot of people on my followership who are anti-religion, and all this kind, who are like conscious community, and they don't want to hear anything about religion. But we can always agree to disagree. The Pope, the papacy, and the Catholic institution is just too big. It's like a president. It's like the president of a country. Think about it, that like the Vatican City is a country on its own, and the Pope is the president. And that being said, also all the Catholics all over the world. And so it's a great power and influence, and it entails so much, and it's not something that can easily go down. So we need to learn from what happened, even what happened with Igele, and ongoing, to know that, like, you cannot bring down structures easily like that, so that we don't just agitate ourselves over things that are beyond our control. Thank you so much. Yeah, yeah. So, my people, I welcome every one of you that is joining me. As you all know, our brother Ijele, he has always been, one of those people that had the courage to speak up and to say the things that nobody would want to say, or, yeah, there's a lot of disagreement on the manner and the way of he's giving his message, right? A lot of people are like saying, yeah, he deserves it, and he should buy there and all those kind of a thing. And I don't understand it, Like, I am always of the opinion that if he goes against the law, what does the law say? And let him go through the process. But the important thing is that the process should be fair. The process should be the due process, the process that is, you know, slated out by the country or by the system. But the problem is taking advantage of the flaws in the system and perversing the cause of justice. That's actually the main issue. It's not because that he's being prosecuted. It's not necessarily because he's being prosecuted, because um the law says that what he's being accused of is not a felon, it's just a misdemeanor. So for them to be misappropriating the cause of justice, that is actually what is the issue. Yeah, if he said something wrong, if he did something wrong, quite correctly, he should be prosecuted for it, right? Nobody is in question of that. Nobody is saying do not prosecute. Nobody is saying he's above the law. Nobody ever said that. We are saying that let the due process be followed. What does the law say about what is being accused of? And why is the system being used against him? Why is the cause of justice being perverted? Because we are looking at it that it's being perverted. But I think that for him, is even though it's looking very drawn out, very long, unfortunately, but it's kind of a win that eventually he gets to be tried in Lagos in all of the cases that they have brought it together to be done in Lagos, right? And I think it's a good thing, right? It's a win. It's a win. I think that it is a win for him, So they said the social media influencer that was put, I don't think actually that Ebukobi will be able to put him in jail if not because the Nigerian state is weak, or if I don't know if I can categorically say it like that, but it appears from the way things are going is showing that the system is liable, because you can only use a weak system or a system that is broken. For example, regardless of what you think about me or you feel about me, or your take towards me, you cannot and you will not be able to use the justice system of Germany to get at me. I will really have to do what the law says, to go against what the law says. And I don't have to know anybody. I don't have to be connected. Is what the law says is what the law says, and that's what is going to take part, take play out. It's not because there is someone that has influence. So when Sarah reporter is saying, for example, Ebukobi put him there, like Ebukobi is one man, right? The issue or the blame, yeah, of course we can recourse to him and say at least he's a Christian, he's supposed to have that church mind, godly mind. But obviously we have not seen that there's no forgiveness in them. We have seen hardness of heart, and the willingness to and the to carry on whatever you know competition they are doing. They want to show who is bigger or who is greater. So those are the things that you cannot do in a system that is not broken, a system that is upright, a legal system that is just. So what is showing that Nigerian legal system is not just. It can be abused. It's being abused. Obviously, it is being taken advantage of, and people who have influence over the Nigerian legal system. So this is what is showing. So in a way, the blame is not necessarily going to Ebukobi or the other pastor, that is Jeremiah. The problem is the Nigerian legal system, and we have talked about it. We have tagged the Nigerian National NNC. What do they call NSC? You know, Judicial Council, NJC. None of them is interested to uphold justice, to tag the presidency, to tag the Nigerian police force, whatever. So they are not interested in the courage of their legal system to keep it upright. So individuals who have power, individuals who have influence are able to have their way using the same justice system. So you cannot expect fairness in a system where people can weigh their influence upon. You cannot do it here. There's a story about a Nigerian that was made. I don't know whether it was a counselor or something. He was given some position in Canada. He was elected as a district something, like he had some political power or position. He came into that position, and so he was on the way driving. When he was on the way driving, he was speeding, and a police stopped him. So when they stopped him, it was like, like that mentality. Why are you stopping me? Like, don't you know who I am? Because he became the mayor. I think something like a mayor or something in that department. And then he was putting a call through to the head office of that police department that arrested him on the road, and was like, your boys arrested me. And they were like, okay, yeah, so you were speeding. So yes, he's supposed to arrest you because that was the law says. The law is no respecter of person. But he forgot that he was no longer in Nigeria, where his influence will subdue the law. And so he was calling the head office of the police department, that were calling that the officer was rightly doing his job. And because of that, he was sacked from that position. He was sacked. Thank you. Happy, thank you, Chu. So just because of that, so at the end of the day, the Nigerian system doesn't show its credibility, because if someone who has influence, if judges or magistrates are able to be influenced upon to indiscriminately keep someone in jail, to indiscriminately motion exparte, so it's a broken system. The fault is the Nigerian system, is the country in of itself. Yeah, so those people are only taking advantage because it is Nigeria. They cannot do it in America, they cannot do it in Germany, they cannot do in the UK. And in extension, when a lot of people were complaining, they have not made a black man pope. The country you are ruling, the country that you are ruling, see what is going on there. Imagine. So if they make you pope now, you want to turn the Vatican City to something like Nigeria, where powerful individual, powerful people will have ultimate influence. Like, not that they are saint, too, not that they are saint. There are still corrupt individuals, and they will go to a very large, great extent. Like, it's going to be really a lot of work, and a lot of damage will be done just because they want to hide one small thing. It's not as if there are no corrupt individuals. Don't get me wrong, but the mass, the level of it is not the way it is happening in Nigeria. Yes, his situation now. Our brother is asking me that, have I heard from Ijele, and what is his situation now? His situation now is that the case has been brought to Lagos. So the case is going to hold 23rd of 23rd of this month. Yeah, in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, so they adjourned the case. It was supposed to hold last week Thursday, and it was adjourned to 2 weeks later. So yeah, so they have been delaying it because the case has already been postponed. Um, has already, like, was struck out in Oka, because their plan, remember the earlier post that I did a video that day, that Sahara Reporter posted it, that they have bought tickets 5 times. According to Sahara Reporter, Ebukobi has paid for those tickets to transfer him to Lagos, to Oka, with the intention that on the way to the court that they will pay him on the way. But fortunately for our brother, and unfortunately for the people that planned it, plus their paymaster, they were not able to achieve that because he was blocked for his safety. So he was not transported to Oka, and eventually the case has now been struck off in Oka and brought to Lagos. So any case that they are going to do, they are going to do it in Lagos. So there is no need to conjure with any justice or any judge in Oka or in Imo, anywhere in the southeast, so to write a motion expected that they should bring him there, that there's a case there. So they say any case, they should bring it to Lagos, right? So that's the case. That's the position of things now. Thank you, Okoma. I greet you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so he is now in Lagos. The whole case is in Lagos. So Ebukobi can no longer be able to pay for any tickets so that they will take him to Oka, Anambra State, where they will waylay him on the way as they have planned it. According to the information that was published by Sahara Reporters, it's there. It's not my words. It's according to the news. So, yeah. Oh, it's okay. No problem. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say in essence is it looks hopeless. It looks like it is taking so long. Yes, it's taking that long because they have been trying to transfer him to the east. And you guys, that's the plan from the beginning, that they will take him from Lagos to the east. And they brought him from Abuja to Lagos, and from Lagos, they were planning to take him to the east. And they attempted. Ebukobi, according to Sahara Reporter, paid those people who bought the ticket, and they planned to take him to Oka, but it failed woefully. And now it's a win. The only thing they can do, they can delay it as much as possible. But as long as they were not able to have their way to use Ebukobi to transfer him to the east so that they can do the ultimate, yes, I think it's a win. So for that, I thank God for his life, honestly. So you can imagine the people that are calling the name of God. Imagine they make that kind of person a pope. Oh my God. Imagine they make that kind of person a pope. You are paying for tickets. The news is on Sahara Reporter. Don't say I said. The news is on Sahara Reporter. They say he has bought ticket 5 times. He have paid for the ticket 5 different times. They will come. They want to carry him to Anambra. They will come with the plan that once they get there, on the way, they will say they are going to take him to court. They will pay him on the road. Somebody that call himself a preacher, he's paying for ticket to carry somebody that he say he insults him. And he's in Lagos. So he is in Lagos. If not because the system is broken in Nigeria, this man that they said, this other preacher, they call him Hezekiah, the case Ijele has with him, the thing is, the way Ijele presents his case, it kind of makes it like he's personal, but it shouldn't be, because it's actually not his case. And one of the, like, normally Ijele doesn't even have any business with Ebukobi. As a matter of fact, Ijele doesn't have anything to do with Ebukobi. Sometimes he will just kind of show his videos and he will just laugh and go about. But it was this Matthias Ezeaku's case with Ebukobi that kind of, I don't even understand it myself. It just kind of took it up, and that was it. Just from that Matthias Ezeaku's case. So yeah, normally Ijele doesn't have anything with Ebukobi. There was really no, like, not to my knowledge anyway. So at the end of the day, because of that case of Matthias, it just kind of escalated from there very quickly. And yeah, when they asked him to come, he should have been more precautious, but he just kind of walked into an open trap, and that is just it. That's just, he wasn't prepared, he didn't take the necessary precautions, and that's just what is going on. So a lot of people are saying, oh, he think he doesn't have influence, he doesn't have, yeah, because he walked into the trap and they already have, it's an entrapment, when you walk into a trap and the whole thing kind of entangles you, it's going to take a while for you to untangle yourself, because what can anybody do, because it's in a fraudulent legal system, and the legal system in of itself is broken. So yeah, what is he going to do? He's going to wait it out. So they are going to exhaust all their corruption. Like the thing is, and that is actually the truth. They can extend this thing because they can keep postponing it, they can keep adjourning it. Maybe that's the plan they have. So, okay, if you cannot bring him to Anambra, they are going to continue to elongate it and adjourn it. I think maybe that's their plan. But again, this is possible because the Nigerian legal system is broken. Governor Ezeoku and Ebukobi with his Zion group has spreading online that Ebukobi removes his hands from his man. No, he didn't. He didn't withdraw the case. The case is still ongoing. But the thing is, the other guy was not even involved. It's just because when they already granted him bail, and of course they needed to hold him, so they were just kind of looking for other means. And normally, like where I was going with the story I was talking about, that Hezekiah of a guy, Ijele don't have anything to do with him. Also, it is voice notes that some girls, young ladies, made. Voice note, this WhatsApp voice notes where they were detailing how that man took advantage of them in the name of going to church when they were teenagers, when they were 13, 14. So Ijele was kind of taking up that audios and playing them on his platform. Me personally, I got those audios also, but I was like, well, they had parents, they had guardians, and now they are adults. If they want to do something about it, it is their call. Me, I know they carry anybody matter for my head. But Ijele have another outlook on that. So Ijele was calling him out based on those voice notes, and those voice notes are there till today. So if not that you have a broken legal system, for example, that justice that is sitting in Oka and writing motion expertise or writing production warrant or anything, he cannot do it. Like, that man will run if that kind of, if here, for example, here in Germany, here in America, or in UK, if young children come out and say, you did this, you did this, so time, and they produce voice notes as evidence, giving detailed explanation of what happened vividly, who are you to come out and say, you understand, like, to come and put the person, because it's not Ijele that produced the voice notes. They were flying all around. It didn't even have anything to do with him. That's the interesting thing. Like how all these voice notes are going around, right? And yeah, so yeah, the way and manner, of course, you can say, Germans will say the Herangehensweise, the way you went about it, you can say, okay, well, I wouldn't have gone about it like that way. That one is okay. We can have that difference in opinion and the way we do our things. And there could be a reprimand for him, maybe in the way he went about it, in the maybe the language he used, but ultimately those voice notes are actually in of themselves indicting that man. It is between that man that call himself a pastor and those ladies that say they used to be the church members. It's not even anything to do with Ijele. And so the burden of proof is between them. You understand? So, but because Ijele, normally I think if Ijele comes out, what he should be doing when such cases come out, or when people produce such voice notes, you can give them his platform. Come and say what you want to say, because it's your story. It happened to you. Come and talk about it. Let it not be that he's the one saying it. You come and present your story. Are you looking for justice? I can give you my platform. You can come and present your case. So, because he was saying, it became that he was saying something against them, but it was actually not his case. Thank you, Bonnie. I greet you. You understand? So that's the issue with Ijele and that Hezekiah. So in a saner climb, like we say, we all know that there are faults in all systems, but in a saner climb where there is regular justice system, that man will not have the guts to come out, because these are young women who came out, not just one. They were a group of young women. There are many, and they were saying the same thing. They were detailing, giving, you know, account of what happened to them. And they were being very specific, naming the date, the time, the events. And so normally, that guy is supposed to be finding a way to cover his sins. But because it's Nigeria, because, the Nigerian legal system, I don't know, I'm not saying it categorically, but from what we are seeing, from the way things are going, you can, come to that conclusion to say, okay, from the way these things are being handled, from what we are witnesses, obviously, for what we are witnessing, obviously, there is, a broken system. Yeah, yeah, there's a broken system. So, yeah, like I posted that with more wisdom comes a lot of suffering, you know, because the world is not cut out to listen or to change, or like people are not interested in something like that. That's why I made this post, that yes, um with more wisdom, you're gonna suffer a lot of pain and agony, you know. Like me personally, I will never say this person should run. I will say let the case, the courts do their job, due process. That's just only what we are saying, due process. Let it not be that somebody have influence, undue influence over the judiciary. That's awkward. That is not right. That's not the kind of system that will liberate African people. So, when we are complaining of Western country, complaining of white supremacy, complaining of racism, and look at what we are doing. We cannot even be fair. We can't even have a due process. You know, strong personalities have undue influence over the judiciary, over the police, over the law enforcement. That is, how can you produce a fair country like that? Mm, yeah. So I want to tell you this story about the scientists and the village people. So once upon a time, there was a village, and this village, they had a very beautiful stream, and this stream has been serving them, and they are using this stream, is their source of water. They eat from it, they clothe from it, they wash from it, they fish from it. Like, that water was just something that gives them joy, what they live on. And so at some time, it happened that people started falling sick, and you know being spied, and they were like, what is going on? So they were accusing each other in that community, say, you, what is going on in this community? What is happening to us? And then a scientist was passing by, and a scientist was looking at that water, and he was thinking, maybe this water is contaminated. So he went and brought a microscope and took a sample from that water and tested it on the microscope to see if there are contaminants. And then he saw the cause of the illness that is buying them from that village. So he was like, oh, there is something going on. You understand that there is something going on, and that this water is contaminated, and the villagers needs to know this. So the villagers, they were very happy that they have found the source of the problem. So they sent for the scientists and the king, and everybody gathered. They said it's going to show them what has been causing this contamination. And then when he came, they brought a sample of the water. He put it under the microscope, because along the line, because this water has been serving them, it became like a god for them. So they also worship that water. That god is like, that water is like their god. The water goddess, and they worship it. It's become like something that they reverence. So that kind of level of respect for the water, because it provides for them, is serving as their god, is their source of food, is their source of nourishment, is their source of economics. There's a lot of things um embodied with that water. So when the scientists now came and brought his microscope, and they took a sample of that water and said they should look, and they were now seeing all the things that are crawling there, and the contaminant that are making them sick. So the scientist was like, I told you guys I want to show you. He was happy. He thought that he's going to show them something that they don't know. But when the chief of the villagers, they looked at it, and some of the people, they were very angry. They said, no, this cannot be true. This cannot be our own water. You are insulting our god. So they were very angry with him, and they broke down the microscope. They came against him, and they chased him out, and he only literally escaped with his life. Yeah. So that is the story of the scientist and the village. And you know this story, you can apply it in different ways. Sometimes you think that the truth, when you tell the truth, that is something that they are going to use to honor you, that is something there is going to be an eye opener, that you'll be applauded for it. But that's not always the case, right? Because that thing you are trying to give another perspective, that thing you are trying to show in another light, has come to be a god, a religion, like a source of income. Like it has become something so meaningful, so central to those people. And any kind of change will be resisted. You understand? So this is a story that is told all the time, so that if you are having that mind, that you want to be someone that will give a different perspective, like have another narrative, you have to be careful. You have to sandwich it, because the status quo is not going to give way for that. Ideas are not very easily accepted, so that you bear that in mind. So that's the story I wanted to share with you guys. So make of this story what you will, and may God be with our brother Ijele as he's going through this phase in his life. May God keep him, may God protect him, may God give him the courage and the determination to survive, and may God give him hope, something to look forward to, something to hold on to. Yes. Good evening, Uyi. Good evening. Yeah, so my people, I think I will leave you here. It's almost 10:30. Tomorrow is another working day. I wish you a very good start in the week ahead. I pray that God Almighty will bless you all, keep you all safe and sound. Please take care of yourself. Please mind how you are. If you find yourself as a scientist in this kind of scenario, mind how you disseminate certain information. It may not come with the result that you want, right? Yeah. So yeah, let's go there. Let's keep on being, living, and learning. Life comes with a lot of learning. It's a lifelong learning, and as long as we have life, we'll continue to have hope and something to live for. And I pray that God Almighty will protect each and every one of us. And yeah, may the providence not forsake us in the day that we need it. And I pray that the seed that we have sown, the mercy, our like the Bible say, cast your bread upon the waters. After many days, we will find it. I pray that your good deeds, God will use it to remember you in the day of your need. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good night. Bye for now.